I'm assigning you to the Home Secretary to move up.
Stay down! It's okay.
The 6 episodes of the first season of Bodyguard fly by on Netflix. It's a very easy binge for anybody out there. Richard Madden stars as David Budd, who is an Afghan war veteran who joins the Metropolitan Police in London, and he's assigned to protect a right-wing politician. And then things get very tricky and slippery, and there's all kinds of intrigue. There are terrorist attacks, and David Budd is sort of caught right in the middle of a lot of these different things happening around him. I'm trying not to spoil anything here. But what we see is David Budd, who's kind of conflicted because he comes from Afghanistan and he's got PTSD symptoms. The very beginning of the show, he actually foils a terrorist attempt, and he does it with a great deal of humanity and understanding and just an awareness of the fragility of life. And it's a really remarkable sequence. It really draws you in right away. But we see this conflicted police officer who is bound by his duty, but also has the ripples and the repercussions of the conflict that he saw, and the wrong-headedness of some of that conflict kind of slammed into his brain. So he's kind of cracking, and he's having relationships with people that he shouldn't be having relationships with, and he's getting intertwined in this giant conspiracy that's sort of much bigger than anybody can kind of, including the audience, can understand at the onset of this very special series.
Very good, Mum.
The action does ratchet up quite a bit, and it does get a little into Kiefer Sutherland 24 territory, but I still was caught up in it. I really enjoyed all of the performances. It's certainly diving headfirst into a lot of our concerns, or our security concerns out there, and London has been hard hit by lots of terrorist attacks over the last several years. So it's sort of swept up into all of that fear and trepidation, but it's done in a smart way, in an intelligent way, and I liked all of the actors, all the performers. There's a couple of hammy cops in here that are delivering lines which feel a little artificial, but for the most part there's a human, empathetic kind of quality to every single role. Such fine actors over there in the UK.
Did you mean what you said?
If you can't tell, I really enjoyed my time with Bodyguard. I thought it was really cool. I watched it mostly because Richard Madden is being pointed at as a likely candidate for the next James Bond after Daniel Craig retires from the role, and I was curious because I liked Richard Madden in Game of Thrones. He played Robb Stark, but I didn't know for sure if this guy would have the gravitas and the weight and the menace that James Bond kind of needs. But I got to tell you, after watching this season of Bodyguard, and I know that there is more coming, it's a huge hit with the BBC and Netflix involved, I really believe in this guy. This guy is a terrific actor.
I'll do what's required.
He's got to deal with some really heavy stuff. He's got suicidal thoughts and got to reach into some real darkness here. And he's also got to be sort of upfront with the action and be upfront with being somebody that can protect another human being. And we kind of understand the significance and the importance of this role and the selflessness of this role, and sort of taking all of the stuff that's inside of David Budd. We see Richard Madden deal with this, all of these frailties and these doubts and these suspicions and this anger that's bottled up inside of him. He has to compartmentalize that, and he has to put it aside so he can do his job. It's like this vase is starting to crack, it's just you see little fine lines, or a windshield or something. You see you can see all the cracks in David Budd as he's just like his whole world is imploding all around him. I really enjoyed Bodyguard. I think it's absolutely worth your time, and Richard Madden is absolutely one to watch. I think he's going to be our next James Bond. I'm going to give Bodyguard an 8.5 out of 10.